Chapter 10. Hunter lay on the edge of the small confines of the cage. He moved from side to side like a prisoner in solitary confinement. They had been traveling for days. He slept, urinated, and defecated in that cage. He felt worse than the dogs he had holed up in his kennels. At least they were treated humanely, but this was worse than anything he had ever known. His treatment was cruel and barbaric. His once beautiful white fur was matted with feces, and his leg movements were weakening. They were beginning to shrivel from lack of exercise. The truck came to an abrupt stop. Hunter could barely raise his head. He was weak from lack of water and fresh meat. This was done by Bane to prevent Hunter from resisting once the cage was opened. Hunter was completely demoralized from the ordeal he has been suffering at Bane's hands. Bane hopped out of the truck, walked around, and pulled a metal cart to lift the cage out of the truck and set it on the ground. Hunter spotted black boots making an indentation in the snow, and then the locks from the cage swung open. "Get out." Bane's voice was deep, dry, and challenging. At first Hunter tried to crawl out, but he was too weak. He didn't know how long it had been since he had eaten. He just slept and woke, and days and nights had passed. Bane reached out and threw him some dried fish. "Eat that or starve. I'm not going to give you to Mina's father. I'm going to leave you out here in this wilderness. I had lots of time to think. If you make it out of the wilderness, then you are worthy of being a werewolf, but I doubt you have the pedigree for it. You've been spoiled." Bane laughed and then gave out a growl. "It's not for you to decide whether I'm fit or not to be a werewolf," Hunter said with a weak voice. "I am a werewolf, and I will be an alpha soon." "You have it wrong, yearling. I'm the alpha here. I'm the strongest. You haven't earned the right to be called an alpha. Now crawl out and eat. Stay or die." It wasn't Hunter's nature to give up or give in to someone like Bane, who he thought was a beta. He had the nature of a hunter from his father Wilder, and the stubbornness of his mother. "I will endure, triumph, prevail, and succeed," he thought, but first he had to get healthy. Traveling like an animal had made him feeble and had demoralized him. He had to find some way to overcome his thoughts, the thoughts of never seeing Katy's beautiful face again, never seeing his brothers, mother, and father. Hunter placed one paw in front of him as he struggled to move. He dragged one hind leg after the other, until he had pushed his large body out of the dirty cage which had held him hostage, and weakened his resolve for living. When he lay face down on the snow, his once white fur was stained yellow from lying in his urine. He no longer resembled the proud young werewolf, but looked and felt like an animal caught in a trap, but he wasn't exactly in a trap. He would find a way to get back home to Katy. Placing the fish in his mouth, he ate it with one gulp. When he opened his crusty eyes, he glanced around, but no longer saw the truck or Bane. Before him lay a large open field of snow. The protection of trees looked so far away. They might well have been 1,000,000 miles away, because he couldn't reach them if he wanted, but he had to. He had to find food. Bane had left him only enough to coax him from the cage. Wilder finally reached his limo, and he would be heading home after another failed attempt at securing Hunter. His limo driver waited as he walked to the car door. The driver nodded, and Wilder stepped inside and sat, then the door closed behind him. He vaguely heard when the car started, and the driver headed the limo in the direction of his ranch. His concerns had gotten the best of him. Tension plagued and wore on his body because of the lack of sleep. He couldn't remember when he had been taxed to his limit. When would he get a chance to rest? "Not until my son is safe and Bane is dead," he thought. For the first time he glanced down to see that his hand and some hair on his arm had been singed by the fire from the downed plane. He had been too busy to notice, but traveling home from the airport took 30 minutes. In that time he could have called Adrian and informed her he was coming home. It wasn't like him to run from anything. If he had called her, he would have to break the news to her that Hunter wouldn't be coming home with him. Staring into the night, he tried to think about everything except his son Hunter, but he kept coming back to him. The car drove to the front entrance, came to a stop, and Wilder exited. He took one step, and then he hesitated to go through the front door. So he walked around to the side of the ranch. He needed more time to think. Glancing out over a vast area of his land he and his brothers owned, the land and ranch would be there for his children and his brothers' children, he thought. There they would make their homes. He would give them their portion of land, and they would live there, and they would all be his family. Looking at the many babies being born, the family would be large, and all thanks to Adrian. He made a rapid turn. It wasn't because he heard something. He had sharp ears, but he heard nothing. It wasn't because he smelled something. It was because of his instincts and the change of wind that he knew who was standing behind him. "How did you know I would be here?" Bane questioned with a raised eyebrow. His eyes were a menacing yellow color. "Because I knew you would be you. You were like this as a young cub. I didn't expect that you would change. You were never where you said you would be. I should have known that sooner." "I wondered how long it would take you to figure that out," Bane said. "I didn't figure it out. It was just fate." "There is no such thing as fate," Bane said, his mouth tight. "You believe in nothing," Wilder said. "I believe that you will die tonight. Not before I tell you what has become of your son." Wilder's heart fluttered and he was overcome with hurt, but he would not reveal that to Bane. "My son is no longer a pup. He can take care of himself. I took him out to the farthest part of Alaska in a cage, starved him, and then let him out in the wild. About now he's food for wolves or a trophy for some hunter. You will never see him again," Bane said with a smirk. Wilder's eyes glowed deep blue. He closed his eyes and twisted his neck from side to side. When he thought of his son, the pain overwhelmed his body and made him weak. He had to shake it off and think like a werewolf, not a man, or he wouldn't be able to function. "When I have finished with you, I will kill those brothers of yours one at a time. And then I will take Adrian and their offspring with me, make some of them slaves, and I will have your pack and your woman. I will fuck her and she will have my pups, and you will be forgotten." Bane watched Wilder's face. He hadn't affected him yet. "Do you think I forgot Hunter's brother? He's dead too. I will kill everything you've wanted, and now it's your time." The joy of killing was etched on Bane's face. His chilling dark eyes danced with delight. Wilder, standing patient, said nothing. He peered restlessly at Bane, only his eyes shifting. He raised his head and let out a wolf howl. The dogs took up his cry. It shocked and distracted Bane. In a few seconds, Wilder sprang on Bane, sinking his teeth into him, tearing away a large piece of his flesh, and with the meat of Bane's shoulder in his mouth, Wilder spat it to the ground in front of him. Bane staggered away from Wilder with blood oozing everywhere. The attack was unexpected. Then they both shifted at the same time. Bane had made a mistake to approach Wilder while he was in his human form. It was Bane's blatant arrogance that made him vulnerable. Standing facing each other with their large fur ruffled on their backs, they snarled and gnashed their teeth. Walking in a circle around each other to look for an advantage, Bane discovered that now he was vulnerable. Rushing Bane, Wilder took aim at Bane's shoulder, and when Bane tried to protect it, Wilder went low, and with his sharp teeth, he clamped it to Bane's leg, snapping and breaking it. Bane looked surprised. He never thought Wilder was capable. Yet Bane wouldn't give up. He hobbled on one foot and refused to go down because he knew that it would be all over. This would be the war to end all wars between Bane and Wilder. There could be only one alpha and master. It would be decided in 1 second. Wilder leapt for Bane's jugular, and Bane couldn't protect it. Wilder dug his teeth into it, and Bane fell and staggered in a corner. This hadn't been either werewolf's first fight. They had fought wolves, men, bears. Wilder was cunning and possessed the pride of a hunter, and had learned the patience of the wolf. Bane was brash and a bully like a man, which he refused to admit to. Each had their own weakness, and each had their own strength. Bane had forced Wilder into a corner, and gave him no way out when he chose to brag about killing his sons and fucking Adrian. Wilder sprang again on Bane, tearing a deeper piece of shoulder where his bone showed. Wilder would take him apart piece by piece as Bane watched himself unable to move or do anything to protect himself. Bane looked down to see blood trickling in large quantities over his fur. He hadn't seen Wilder spring at him. Wilder gave no indication that he would. His face showed no expression where Bane was concerned. With such a surprise move, Bane couldn't protect his jugular. "What are you doing out here, Wilder, and who is with you?" Wilder turned to see Adrian standing behind him. When he did, Bane made one last dying leap on Wilder's back, taking him to the ground. They were entangled together, snarling and biting furiously. Adrian at first stood stunned at the sight of blood everywhere. "Leave, Adrian," Wilder shouted. Surprised at seeing Adrian, he couldn't protect himself from Bane's assault. Bane slashed Wilder's throat in a violent frenzy of seeing and hearing Adrian. Adrian turned screaming and ran into the house. Wilder twisted his body, biting at Bane when he thought Adrian was safe. He sprang to his feet and Bane charged a bleeding Wilder, going for his throat, and Wilder, fighting off a dying Bane in a violent circle, trying to remain on his feet. Once Wilder stayed steady on his feet, he sprang on Bane, aiming for his jugular, and broke Bane's neck with a jerk. Wilder dug his teeth into it, and Bane fell lifeless. Rushing to Wilder, "Are you all right, my love?" Adrian held a gun firmly in her hand. "What were you going to do with that?" Wilder said, breathless, taking the gun from her hand. He had to pry it out. "I was going to kill Bane." "Do you even know how to use that?" "I took a few lessons." "Where did you get it?" "We don't have guns in the house." "No, but Robert does. Mina told me where to find it. Drayton is under medication, and Robert was sleeping from exhaustion. He didn't hear anything. Mina and I tried to wake him, and he wouldn't budge." Wilder looked at her. He too was exhausted. He took a hard breath. "I have to call someone from town to pick up Bane and bring him back to his pack." "What are you going to do with him?" "We can't leave him here. His pack will bury him. I'll wake Robert and we'll bring him into the hospital." "Where Lysel is sleeping." "He won't mind." Wilder wrapped his arms around Adrian and they walked into the house. "We have to talk. I have to know now. I don't like to wait. Besides, I won't be able to sleep." He took her hands, and when they were headed up the stairs, the door opened. "What's going on here?" They turned, and Devin was walking into the house. Wilder ran to Devin and hugged him. "This is a first, Father," Devin said, stepping back and looking intently at Wilder. "What did I miss? I hope it wasn't something exciting. You're bleeding everywhere." "It's nothing. Where have you been, Devin?" Wilder said, relief washing over him. "I've been to the movies with Katy. She's leaving soon and I want to see as much of her as I can. She's Hunter's girl." "Where is Hunter anyway?" Adrian said, looking at Wilder.